we had this vision that we needed to focus on not reinventing the wheel, but just supporting the existing schemes.
It's not just now, but it's a continuous effort that you need to put in managing your nutrition, managing your diet, and keeping yourself healthy.
Today we have with us two very special people from Narayana Health. We have with us Dr. Anupama Shetty, who is the head CSR at Narayana. As a PhD student from TIS, her work revolved around strategic change in healthcare organizations, accreditation, and safety culture. She holds a bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery from Mysore University and a master's in hospital administration from TIS. With over 15 plus years of experience in varied roles, her experience as a physician, administrator, and researcher has helped shape her perspectives towards CSR, combining a system-based approach with a focus on scalability and sustainability of interventions. Dr. Shetty, absolute pleasure to have you among us today.
Thank you so much, Yamini. Thank you for having us over on the Portion Talk series.
We also have with us Mr. Akshay Gathia, the Deputy General Manager for Organization Development and Training at Narayana Health. Mr. Gathia has a demonstrated history of working in the hospital and healthcare industry. He is a strong human resources professional, skilled in coaching, customer relationship management, instructional design, executive coaching, and team building. A graduate from Delhi University and MIT, he has over 20 plus years of experience in the domain of human resource management. Mr. Akshay, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Yamini, for having me on this particular talk show.
So we would just like to begin by understanding your experience within the healthcare industry. So Dr. Shetty, let's start with you. Walk us through how you got into this health and nutrition industry.
Yamini, first of all, I think, you're having this, the Portion Talk series in the month of September, and, it's bang on. It's so synergistic because, right now we are celebrating the Rashtriya Poshan Mah 2020. And as you know, September 1st to 30th, last year also was declared as a Rashtriya Poshan Mah. And this year also, I think there's a lot of focus which has happened. And I think it's much more relevant this year because in the context of COVID, nutrition and several other issues have just, been relegated to the background. The whole spotlight right now is COVID. And I think right now it's so much more important now to focus on nutrition. So Poshan Abhiyan, has, it was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji in March 2018. And under that, there are several activities which are going on at NH, and specifically from a CSR perspective, we decided to focus on adolescent nutrition. Today, if you are to consider adolescents, in terms of numbers, adolescents comprise almost 20% of the population of India. 243 million adolescents are there, aged between 10 to 19 years. This is a large number. There's a huge potential here in itself. And nutrition plays the bedrock of their health. And adolescent health is so very critical because today the health of our adolescents will decide what is going to be the health of our adult population tomorrow. And also it has an impact on the socioeconomic well-being of the country. I think the outcomes are going to be huge if we were to focus on nutrition and health of adolescents right now. So that's where we come in from a CSR perspective. Last year itself, we had launched the Suposhan program. We looked at iron fortification. And because, anemia is a huge issue, and I think this has been spoken about several times. There's a wonderful report which has been released by UNICEF and Niti Aayog, the Adolescents Diet and Nutrition Report, Growing Well in a Changing World 2019. This was released last year, and I think the results of this report, they are valid today. It is a changed world today. We all know that with COVID, the entire thing, everything has, it had come to a standstill. We've got to start beginning all our, programs again right now with renewed focus, with renewed energy. And I think, for us, our perspective is that we need to focus much more on adolescents right now because, what, if anything right now, what this report also talks about is that In 80% of the adolescents, there is hidden hunger, micronutrient deficiencies is there. Less than 10% of the boys and the girls, as per this report, ate fruits or eggs. Anemia affected almost 40% of the girls, as per this report. 25% of the adolescents didn't have access to any of the government mandated programs, such as the WIFS, weekly iron and folic acid supplementation program, midday meals, then it was the health checkup program, or even deworming. All the four components of government-led initiatives, 25% of adolescents didn't have access to this. So for us, it was already, in the sense, we had this vision that we needed to focus on not reinventing the wheel, but just supporting the existing schemes. So for us, I think from a CSR perspective, this is what we are doing even this year. We are continuing on ground. So for us, it is so very important that Suposhan program continues. We've last year we put up community gardens. So this year also we're working on community gardens for the adolescents. We are just waiting for the schools to reopen so that in Jaipur and also in other areas. And I hope that in collaboration with other CSR groups who are part of the Impact for Nutrition Forum, we could kind of expand on what we've done and achieved so far.
So, Yami, from our side, actually, when I look at from a healthcare perspective, the healthcare workers were at the forefront to manage the COVID-19 situation in all the hospitals that we have across. And it was important that first they take care of themselves before they can take care of others. And hence, when Dr. Anupama was discussing this program and it came as a mail forward to me, I was very happy that we could do something through your team, Impact on Nutrition team, and bring an awareness at a self level that what is it that they can do in order to manage their own nutrition and build that resistance through the diet that they take. And this is something which helped us to a certain extent to bring that awareness within the people at different levels, not just in the nursing, but in the admin teams as well, because it was a collective effort, a team effort, where we wanted most of the people to be aware, especially the forefront workers who were day in and out working in the hospital and managing the patients as well. So from that angle, I think this program did deliver the awareness part of it, of sensitizing people that it's not just now, but it's a continuous effort that you need to put in managing your nutrition, managing your diet, and keeping yourself healthy. At the end of the day, when we look at it, it's about you able to build your resistance to fight, whether it is a virus or it is about any other disease or something. But unless until an individual has that resistance built in, and this all again through the intake of food, that was important for us to bring that awareness. While we have a lot of the women team working with us, I think it also allowed us to let people know that while you're at work, you need to take care of your health, and while you're at home, uh, build that particular awareness with your children as well, so that they start eating healthy. Because I think in India we do neglect the healthy eating habits right from an early age, and as parents, even I'm guilty at times of giving into the demands of the children and allowing them to eat junk food. And that's where I think we have to start uh, building that awareness. And I feel through this program, it's going to bring a lot of awareness why building that early healthy eating habits are important.
Right. I think this is a wonderful approach because filling the stomach and those kind of nutrition interventions are half the battle. The other half
Correct.
is awareness and information about the right kind of food and the right kind of practices. And I think, Dr. Shetty, it's very important what you mentioned, that we have so many great resources and infrastructure within the country, and it's time to mobilize that rather than innovate and create when you already have such a wonderful infrastructure available. Now we'll just talk a little bit, ma'am, about the food fortification that you mentioned, because that is now coming up as a very, very important weapon in the battle against malnutrition and undernutrition. So can you talk to us a little bit about how Narayana is kind of capitalizing on that?
So the thing is, what we felt is that for children, see, the weekly iron and folic acid supplementation program has been going on since several years. But despite that, we have a very high prevalence of anemia. And so that's the reason we thought that fortification would be a supplementary tool here in addressing this nutritional issue, of anemia. And largely, we've seen that children have a lot of chapati, like, what happens is that if they're given iron tablets, the children have it with the meal. You're supposed to have it with the meal, otherwise it causes some kind of gastric irritation. But what happens is the absorption of iron is limited by phytates in the diet, phytates which are present as part of, say, chapati or wheat flour based kind of diets. And so there are a lot of challenges in terms of even iron, it being absorbed. You need to have vitamin C. There are a lot of children who didn't like iron or iron tablets because of the acidity or because of various other reasons, metallic taste in the mouth. And but despite all our efforts, what we also noted was that in boys, the correction happened much more quickly with even little bit of iron. The correction happens very quickly. Behavioral change communication works quite well in terms of, in boys. But in girls, despite the fortification or even if they're having iron tablets, what we realize is that the girls require supplemental iron 100%. It's not only the tablets. The fortification has to be done because, most of the girls in this, in the age group they were menstruating. So menstruating causes a lot of blood loss. So for us, the focus was much more on how to see that the anemia got corrected in the girls. And that, therefore, I feel iron fortification has to be taken up very seriously in order to address anemia, especially in girls.
I think you're absolutely right. This vicious cycle, it needs to be broken at the very root cause, which is the health of these adolescent girls, who will then give birth to kids who are, preterm or low birth weight, which starts the whole, cycle of undernutrition and malnutrition. So that's great, ma'am, that you are focusing on that. Now we'll touch a little bit upon the COVID pandemic, which has really halted a lot of efforts and redirected everybody's attention to COVID. So we're going to talk about this in two ways. We're also going to look at it from, the way that you guys work in a lot of communities. So how has the COVID pandemic kind of dampened that work which you do within the community models? And also, Mr. Akshay, specifically for you, because you work extensively on employee engagement and now that people are working from home. So how has COVID kind of dampened your efforts on that side? So Dr. Shetty, let's begin with you to understand how the community models have been affected by COVID.
What has happened is even during lockdown, post-lockdown also, we were part of the Amphan relief measures. We, through support of other philanthropists and donors, we were really, we were involved in giving out relief packages. Obviously, it is not at the level at which, certain large donors can do, such as Akshay Patra or, through other philanthropies. But whatever in our own small way, we have been rolling out food relief packages. That is something that we have, which we have focused on. Right now, even today, in fact, our team is out on ground and we're doing it in Bangalore in our area called Arnikal. And there we've identified a whole bunch of domestic workers. Some of them have been laid out, some are laid off, and then some of them are migrants who don't have access to the ration. Today, the team is on ground. And I stayed back, obviously, because of the webinar today, but today the team is there and we've rolled out this is for around 1,000 households. So this work is going on. And what we've realized is that as part of the package, it's not only rice. I don't think it's about calorie sufficiency. We've also got to look at proteins, that we would like to have a lot of dals, grams, like, ragi flour, that kind of, nutrient, kind of products being part of the entire food relief package.
Right.
And we are in touch with a couple of other large NGOs who work extensively with children. What we wanted to understand, what is the health of the student today? How many meals are the students actually getting? Because we are hearing a lot of disturbing stories wherein it seems that students, government school students basically, who are at home and who otherwise had access to midday meal, do not have access to even 2 square meals a day. Many of them have even started working, and so that is a fear for us. We've reached out to these NGOs. We're trying to see if we can work with them to see if we can come out with some kind of package.
Great to hear. And I think food diversity has also really suffered, with people going down from consuming 5 food groups to just 2, which consists of, just dal and rice.
That's it.
Really, I think, COVID has really kind of dampened a lot of efforts that have been done in the past. But with that being said, a lot of momentum is now being picked up. And, efforts are going back, especially with this month being Poshan Ma. We ourselves have advocated a lot for, vocal for local, this campaign that the Prime Minister is running. So vocal for local food. Can you identify pulses and vegetables that grow within your area and kind of capitalize on those as sources of nutrition?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And over to you, Mr. Akshay. Let's talk a little bit about work from home and its challenges.
Well, I think from a HR perspective, we did see initially some challenges of how do we mobilize the workforce. We would have to look back into the way how the rostering is done, the workforce is engaged. So those challenges did continue for some time, and I think with the operations team, we did overcome those challenges of to figure out how we need to mobilize the team and still keeping in mind the safety and security of the people first, and ensuring that they are still able to deploy their duties for which they've been assigned. Having said that, the engagement part of it was more driven from an awareness part, to be honest, where we wanted them to be more aware about the COVID 19 safety protocols. That was the agenda for us initially. And gradually, as and when we went ahead on those particular lines, we realized that we could do a whole lot of engagement using the mobile application that we have called as NH Accelerate, which allows us to reach out to people, sharing short videos. We could do quiz, and that's something which helped us to reach out to a larger number of people as well. Apart from doing small interactive sessions in the nursing hostels and reaching out to people in smaller groups, we did deploy these techniques to infuse, I would say, posters, quiz, some kind of a short video involving the senior leadership team as well, and mid management leadership team as well, to share some of their thoughts and views and learnings that they've had during the COVID 19 situation. And one fallout which I must address, which happened as well from this session that we had done, which talked about the nutrition, was that somewhere it triggered an interest in people, and locally within the units that we have spread across in India, they started asking a little bit more questions about the food part of it, and thereafter we started involving our unit dietitian teams to talk about more on the food part of it, the healthy eating part of it, and how they can actually on their own manage about the food intake habits and how they should go about planning futuristically, whether it is about weight loss or about building your resistance to your eating habits. This helped us to actually cascade it down. So now, if you ask me whether the situation has improved from an employee engagement, yes, people are utilizing our NH Accelerate portal. At the same point of time, they are reaching out to their fellow colleagues who've gone through various programs. The knowledge sharing which is happening is a lot more higher, and people are becoming more aware of what I would say.
I think that's wonderful, because what we've seen is that the workplace is such an essential catchment to the dissemination of nutrition information. And I think even if colleagues can spend 5 minutes a day talking about how they're going to take care of their nutrition today, is going to have a massive, massive impact and take us forward towards this vision of a healthier India. That brings us to the end of this interview. Thank you very much to both of you for being a part of this. I think I can speak for everybody who's going to watch this that it was so insightful from learning from a leader like you who occupies such a prominent place in healthcare, and see how you're making nutrition a priority, not just on the CSR side, but also on the business side. And you're really setting the tone and exemplifying what we are trying to do with our private sector involvement for Impact for Nutrition. Thank you both for taking our time, and we look forward to having more conversations in the future.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Yamini. Thank you for having us.